happens when love marries into darkness? When a bride, radiant with joy, discovers on her wedding night that her husband's heart belongs not to her, but to something beyond human understanding. Listen, my people, to the story of Wunmi, the woman whose tears watered a barren curse until heaven answered. The town of Ijebu-Ode had never seen a wedding as beautiful as Kunle and Wunmi's. The golden sun rested gently upon their faces as they danced before friends and families. Wunmi's laughter was like music. She had found love, a peace, a angel, a world. But that night, in the hotel room, her world shattered as she tried to unzip her gown. Kunle, her new husband, turned and said coldly, "Wunmi, this marriage cannot work. You can go back to your parents." She froze. Eh? Kunle, what are you saying? I said, go home. Don't make this hard for both of us. Her mind swelled. It didn't make sense. Was it a prank? A dream? But before dawn, he had driven them both home and announced new rules. You will stay in your room. I will stay in mine. No questions, no explanations. And so began Wumi's silent torment. She kept quiet. She told no one. She prayed. She fasted. She cried. But Kunle's heart grew colder. 9 months later, despite their distance, she conceived. Her first son was born, strong, healthy, and bright like the morning sun. 2 years later, another. By the fourth year, Kunle had moved out, leaving Wunmi alone in the duplex, raising two boys. He only visited once in 2 years, and somehow she conceived again. By the time she had her fourth child, a daughter, neighbors whispered, tongues wagged, but Wunmi held her peace. She only said, let God judge between me and my husband. One afternoon, Kunle appeared unannounced. His eyes were red, his voice shaking with rage. Wunmi, let me ask you, who is the father of these children? Wunmi blinked. What are you saying? He slammed the table. The doctor said I cannot father a child. I am the father of only the first boy. So tell me, who gave you the others? Before she could speak, the door burst open. It was Mama Kunle, his mother, the woman known for her sharp tongue and strange ways. She shouted in Yoruba, Ha! Ọmọ àlè ló kó jọ, bastard children. My son cannot have children. I warned you, Kunle. This woman is evil. Wunmi stared in disbelief. Mama, do you hear yourself? You said your son cannot have children. Then who gave me four? Mama Kunle hissed and spat on the floor. You think I don't know? I was there when it was sealed. No woman was meant to bear him a child. Those words struck like thunder. Wunmi stepped closer. You mean you did this? But the old woman only laughed. I will inherit everything Kunle owns. You and these children, leave. Wunmi's tears dried. She looked Kunle in the eyes. Let's do a DNA test. Choose any hospital and I am ready. Kunle barked. You want to waste my money? But for the first time, Wunmi didn't back down. It's not your money. It's the truth that will speak. Days later, the results came in. They sat together in silence as the doctor opened the envelope. For child 1, Mr. Kunle Adewale is the biological father. For child 2, Mr. Kunle Adewale is the biological father. For child 3, Mr. Kunle Adewale is the biological father. For child 4, Mr. Kunle Adewale is the biological father. The papers dropped from Kunle's hands. His breath caught. His mother staggered backward. No! It's not possible. But it was. That night, Kunle could not sleep. 2 hospitals had told him he was sterile. Yet, here he was, a father of 4. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. He went to a pastor in Oshogbo, a man known to hear from God. After prayers, a voice spoke through the servant of God. Your mother tied your destiny with her hands. She vowed that no woman would bear you a child. So her power in the dark world would remain. But your wife, Wunmi, carries light, holy fire. That fire broke her spell. Kunle wept. The pastor continued, do not fight her. Seek your own deliverance. The truth has already fought for you. Kunle fell to his knees before Wunmi, days later trembling. Forgive me. I didn't know what I was doing. Wunmi, now calm, only said, it wasn't you, Kunle. It was the darkness around you. But you must choose now, freedom or bondage. Kunle returned to the church. For 7 nights he fasted. On the 7th night, he saw a shadow, his mother, kneeling before a fire, chanting. But the fire turned blue and consumed her words. At dawn, Mama Kunle fell ill, crying that the fire of Wunmi's God had touched her. Before she died, she confessed, I sealed my son's fruitfulness to gain power, but Wunmi's womb broke the covenant. Today, Kunle and Wunmi live quietly in Abeokuta with their 4 children. Wunmi started a ministry for women wounded by betrayal. She calls it Light from the Womb. And whenever she tells a story, she says, when the enemy closes the womb, God opens a river. My people, tell me, if you were Wunmi, would you have stayed in that marriage or walked away? And do you believe that a mother's curse can only bind a child's destiny? Drop your thoughts below, because this tale is not just about Wunmi, it's about the unseen battles many women fight every day. After Mama Kunle's death, peace seemed to settle like a gentle rain. The house that once echoed with bitterness now carried laughter. Kunle became tender, humble, always watching Wunmi as though trying to understand the mystery of her strength. But in the spiritual realm, something else had been stirred. You see, when an old covenant is broken, the forces behind it do not simply go away. They search for a new vessel. It began with little Feyefoluwa, their only daughter, their last child. She was just 5 when she started waking up at night, crying that grandma is calling her. Wunmi would rush into her room, hold her tight and pray. You will not answer any strange call. You belong to Jesus. But one night, Kunle woke up to find the child sitting at the edge of the bed, staring into the darkness. Fiyin, what are you doing here? Daddy, she whispered. Grandma said she wants me to come and stay with her in the river. Kunle's heart froze. He turned to Wunmi, trembling. It's happening again. That same week, all the taps in their house began running at midnight, even when they closed them tightly. Water kept flowing, thick with a faint scent of blood. Neighbors began to talk again. Some said Wunmi was too prayerful. Others whispered that she had offended the spirits of her husband's lineage. One evening, Kunle returned from work, looking shaken. Wunmi, he said quietly, the pastor who prayed for me called. He said we must not ignore what is happening. The coven is looking for a replacement, our daughter. Wunmi sighed deeply. Then we fight on our knees. For 7 nights, they gathered their children at the altar in their sitting room. They sang, they prayed, and they read Psalm 91 until their voices cracked. On the 7th night, something strange happened. As Wunmi prayed, the entire house shook. The light flickered. Finyi began to convulse. A cold wind swept through the room. A voice that of Mama Kunle filled the air, bitter and crying. Kunle, you broke the covenant of blood. This child is mine. But Wunmi shouted with fire, she is not yours. She is born of the covenant of Christ with the blood of Jesus. And at the moment, the portrait of Mama Kunle that hung in the hallway shattered into pieces. When Finyi woke up, she said softly, Mommy, the woman has gone. She said there is no more power where she came from. From that day, the strange occurrence stopped. But Wunmi's story began to spread beyond Abeokuta. People came from neighboring towns, Ilesha, Ondo, Akure, to hear her testify. She opened her home every Thursday for prayers, and miracles began to happen. Women who had been barren for 10, 12 years conceived. Husbands who had abandoned their wives returned home. People began to call her Mama Ileri, meaning mother of promise. Kunle, once a broken man, became a teacher of men. He went back to the same men who mocked him when his marriage collapsed and told them, if your mother is your God, you have no future. He started a fellowship for men dealing with family manipulations. He tagged it the Redeemed Sons Fellowship. But there was one more test left for him. A year after his mother's passing, Conley's uncle came to the house, insisting that tradition required him to perform his mother's burial rites properly, which included feeding the spirits of the ancestors. Conley refused. We will only feed the living, not the dead. That night, they came for him in his dream, a council of old women dressed in red wrappers, standing in a circle. One of them said, you have broken our chain. Now you must pay. Kunle woke up screaming. He couldn't move his legs. His entire body was stiff. For weeks, he was bedridden. Doctors found nothing wrong. It was Wunmi's prayers again that tore through the veil. On the 21st day of her prayer, as she anointed his feet, Kunle began to cough violently. He vomited black liquid that smelled of burnt iron. At that exact moment, far away in their village, the shrine that belonged to Mama Kunle's lineage caught fire and burned to ashes. No one knew how. From that day, Kunle walked again. He lifted his wife's hand in tears and said, if not for your faith, I would have died an unbelieving man. Years later, when Fiyinfoluwa turned 18, she stood before thousands at a crusade her mother hosted and said, the night they called me to the river, I saw a light stronger than the fire. That light was my mother's prayer. She now ministers to young people who struggle under generational bondage, carrying the same light her mother carried. Wunmi, now gray-haired and graceful, always say, when a woman prays, even the deepest altar trembles. My people, Wunmi's story teaches us something deep, that love is not just romance, it's warfare in disguise. That a woman's womb can carry fire that heaven recognizes and hell fears. If you were Wunmi, would you have stayed to fight or walked away from Kunle that first night? And do you believe that prayers can truly break generational covenants? Drop your thoughts in the comment section, because sometimes what looks like a curse is just the stage of a greater testimony. Thank you for your time. Your support and your time means so much to me. If you enjoy this story, please like, share with your loved ones and family. Please subscribe to my channel for more interesting and educating story. Till another video is uploaded on this channel, I remain yours truly, African Echoes by Dima. Bye.